Greetings from the Long Island Sound podcast. Welcome to the show. Please rate, review, and comment on the show, and call our listener line and leave a message for our guests. Dial 631-800-3579. All right, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Long Island Sound podcast, where we explore the muse and music from the North Shore to the South Shore, from New York City to the Hamptons, on the island of Long here in New York. I'm Steve Yusko from GigDestiny.com. Stay tuned as we explore the Long Island Sound. Mike Nugent is my guest today, and his reputation as a producer, singer-songwriter, guitarist extraordinaire precedes him. Fellow musicians recognize his talent as he's known to add spice and a wonderful flavor to every song he plays. Collaboration and kindness are at his core, packaged in a gentleman with an infectious smile. Mike truly believes that music can help heal this world. For full disclosure, Mike is my guitar teacher and friend, as I feel blessed to spend time with him. Mike has played with some of the most notable bands for decades on Long Island, starting with Wes Houston and the Allstar Space Band, the Sheiks, the Stanton Anderson Band, Cadillac Moon, the Walkers, and many more. His generous spirit is reflected in the music he produces, in conjunction with the many talented artists from Long Island and abroad. In this episode, we will dive into two of Mike's original songs from his newly released album, Everything Is Gonna Be Okay, and get Mike's take on the Long Island Sound. Enjoy. Welcome to the Long Island Sound podcast, and I want to welcome a very special guest, Mike Nugent, to the program. Hey, Mike. Thanks for being
Steve,
here.
how are you, brother?
Wonderful. I tell you, I was really excited about Mike being my first interviewee on the Long Island Sound, because really Mike is the Johnny Appleseed of the Long Island Sound, in my opinion. He's played all over the island. You heard a little bit in the promo as far as what he's done, but let's hear from Mike. Mike, tell me, how did you get in the business? When did you play live first? Give me some foundation of who Mike Nugent is.
I guess some of my first live playing was in grammar school for the Christmas shows.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was grammar school? Was it on the island, Mike?
Queens.
All right. Well,
Queens.
that is New York City, but I guess
on Long Island.
We'll consider geographically Long Island. So
right, geographically. Yeah.
So you started in school. Did you have lessons?
Yeah. I had. I took guitar lessons when I first started. I wasn't practicing, so my parents made me stop. And then I missed it, and I started again, and that was it.
That's right. How old were you when you started, Mike?
11 or 12.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So,
yeah.
So I know a lot of the people in the audience, like myself. I picked up the guitar early and got extremely frustrated and put it down for years and let it collect dust, and then finally started to pick it up again and learn it. So, who are your influences? Musically.
Well, what really, I guess, got me started, I'm a little younger than the Elvis generation.
Okay.
But not really, just a little. Ricky Nelson at the end of the Ozzie and Harriet show, he would always play.
Oh, sure.
Turned out that was James Burton, I think, on playing the telly all the time.
Wow, wow.
So that was, we'd watch a show as a family, and we loved the show, but then at the end of the show, I was like, wow. This is cool.
I tell you, it's amazing to me of other musicians I talk to is the inspiration they've gotten from either the Ed Sullivan Show, seeing Elvis, or hearing the Beatles, and kind of reimagining themselves of, hey, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. And
that's it, right?
And I
Isn't
think
that how? That's all things in life. They're all related that way,
Yeah. So, I hate to really pigeonhole anybody. And so where would you say you sit as far as your musical interests? Rock and roll, blues,
Yes.
What? Yeah. Playing it all, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've dabbled in jazz. That's where I that's where I never really crossed the bridge all the way. I've studied it and I play a little, you know.
So that's
But
one of
that's
one
a
of
whole
your.
other dedication, and because I loved it all and got into the songwriting thing too, you know. So.
Okay, so let's fast forward to I guess I would think your early 20s or late teens. Tell me about some of the bands that you played with in the beginning of your career.
I guess it would start with West Houston. And
Okay.
the All-Star Space Band, which was started out with Gary Brooks and myself. We were a trio. So Gary and I were the All-Star Space Band. You can take that or what you will.
So wait, for those of tell me about West Houston.
Wes is a wonderful songwriter. You know, he started as a real folky. We did great on the island for years, you know, playing original music.
Wow.
You know, I'd work 5, 6, 7 nights a week playing original music. So it hasn't affected me at all. You know, so there was no hope for me. It's like I just at an early age, you know, I found this songwriter and I got to, you know, and I just kind of always loved backing up songwriters.
Nice.
You know?
So we always have the ebb and tide of musicians and bands, you know, breakups and reimaginations. So if I recall our earlier conversations, you were in a band called the Squires. Tell me a little bit about that.
The Sheiks.
The Sheiks.
Right.
All right. That's I'm a good listener, huh?
After I left Wes, I was starting to write, but I also was writing some instrumentals because I was listening to a lot of jazz at the time and studying, and I was way into Larry Carlton and the Crusaders. So Wes would feature me on some instrumentals that I wrote.
Okay.
But the Sheiks, when I joined the Sheiks, I was like the third songwriter, not just.
Oh, really?
the
Okay.
sideman who wrote some instrumentals. So, you know, I stepped up a little in that regard.
So in that group, what was 2 guitarists and a drummer? What was the setup?
Well, yeah. Well, when I first joined, the guy I was supposed to replace, they never let him go. I showed up on the first gig and he was still there. So that was a little weird, but it was great. You know, we all knew each other. It was fine. But then it was just 4-piece: guitar, bass, keyboard, and drums.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I tell you, as I look at what's...
For a while, we had a sax player, too. Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah.
And you played, in the Queens area, or you expanded?
No, I was all over Long Island, and Right Track in, all the same places. I was playing all the same places. I was playing with Wes. I was playing with the Sheiks.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, if we fast forward to today, and I've looked at the different venues that carry live music, what's interesting is there's been a big wave of cover bands, you know, that are renamed after, you know, a Tom Petty or what have you.
We're in the age of the tribute now.
Yeah. It's interesting and sad at the same time,
Even
I
on
think.
Broadway, you know, they used to call them reviews, I guess, right?
Right,
You know,
exactly.
Now that's what you have to do to survive. I mean, if you just play covers.
Yeah, just to make it.
If you have a favorite artist you like and you can do it well, you know, you can make some money these days.
Right. That's where I kind of reminisce about, you know, a place like Neptune's and the Right Track Inn and My Father's Place and all those guys who really took a chance on up and comings, people who've made it, you know, in the industry. But it was, I think, a golden age of original music. And you can still find it out there on Long Island. You got to hunt around a little bit, but you can find it, and the music industry has changed. But I remember you were telling me a story one time, talk about inspiration, about you shared a guitar teacher with someone who's fairly famous. Paul Simon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, I'd go see, that was Howie Morgan.
The late Harry Morgan, I'm sure, at this point.
The late Howie Morgan. And Mike Deary and I wrote a song for him. It's on the record. But I'd go take a lesson, and when Paul was in Africa doing Graceland,
all right,
he would write little notes to Howie, like saying, like, Howie, I'm practicing. Really, I am. You know, so I'd get all, you know, all the Paul Simon stories.
So what I find interesting about that is Graceland, which is an excellent album.
No, that's putting it mildly. It's a genius album.
Genius album.
Oh my God!
And yet Paul Simon still had a guitar teacher. which to a knucklehead like me, I would think, hey, once you make it out there, who needs the lessons anymore? But that really kind of plays to the humility of people to say, hey, you know what, I need to keep evolving and keep learning about things. So
Howie was coming from a very harmonic place.
Okay.
And for songwriters, just to expand that, Paul was already beyond your typical singer-songwriter.
Right.
And not to use the word typical in the wrong way. I mean, some of the greatest typical songwriters are the greatest songwriters, but the chord structures are similar and simple when it's all about the story,
Exactly.
But Paul took it, he took it somewhere else too, harmonically different places, and beautiful, and with the African stuff, rhythmically, forget it.
Yeah, so let's just touch about, because you are a singer-songwriter, you're a producer, you've produced a lot of people's albums out there. We're in Mike's home studio right now, which is Melts
in Your Ears studio.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but so tell me about your process, just as far as do you write lyrics? Do you work with anybody? How does that go?
Mostly with one lyricist for years, my great buddy Mike Deary. Sometimes I'll have a chorus and a verse, and he'll finish it, or sometimes I'll just have an lyrical idea, and the music, and he'll write the lyric. Or sometimes he'll just give me a lyric, and I'll write to that. So it's always different,
That's great.
Mostly stuff starts with me, on the guitar.
On the guitar,
yeah,
and then you kind of progress from there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to explore some of the venues and some of the areas, reminiscing a bit about some of the venues that are no longer here and where Mike plays around the Long Island. We'll be right back. This is Steve Yusko from GigDestiny.com. We're the bridge between musicians and live venues. Come check us out. We're here to help you. Be well. Hey, Mike, welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Long Island Sound, and we're here with Mike Nugent. Mike, I got to ask you this. I've seen you play with a lot of different people, which I think is phenomenal, because you play in a lot of different venues. You play a lot of different types of music, which is I think really great. But let's roll back a little bit. One of your most famous entities was Cadillac Moon. Tell me how that came about and what it morphed into.
Well, before it was actually Cadillac Moon, I always kind of was writing and recording and trying to have a project, an original project.
Okay. What year is this? Give me a time frame roughly.
Oh, always in
the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Late 70s.
Okay. Great.
That just finally became Cadillac Moon, and we got to the point where you'd go in and you'd play the bitter end, do a one set, you'd be original project, you'd have to be a weeknight because everybody was gigging on the weekends.
Sure.
So, but we got Cadillac Moon once Al.
So who are the members of Cadillac Moon?
Al Santorial, once he joined the band, and we had Sean Murray on drums and Dave Noyes and Rich Campbell. That was the crew that really got off the ground.
Well, that was the core.
Okay. And when we realized that we had to work weekends if this was going to be more than just an original project that played the bitter end in places around the city, and actually that's when Sean couldn't commit anymore because he had a family and he did, union club dates on the weekend to make his living and pay his mortgage.
Sure.
And that's when Cliff Hackford came in, and he was like the sub we were using anyway.
Nice.
So the first record was Sean, then the next three were Cliff.
So actually, a pressed vinyl, I would assume, was your first.
No, they were CDs.
It was CDs. Okay.
They were already CDs. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it was actually Rich Campbell who was business-wise, he was a real driving force in the band and songwriting. But that's when he was saying, "Look, we got to be able to play Saturday nights."
Sure.
And we made the commitment, and we did it, and we had a great run.
Started getting a lot better exposure. Now, I remember one of the interesting things I remember having conversations with you is you actually got some of the Cadillac Moon stories into the movies.
Well, we did one of our songs.
One of them, yeah, okay.
In The Devil's Advocate.
Nice. That's with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves.
Our scene was with Keanu and Charlize Theron.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I was. Blast.
Kind of puts you on the map. Kind of separates you from the herd, so to speak. So
first 15 seconds
of fame, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think you've got at least 14 minutes more of fame that we're going to expose here. So Cadillac Moon eventually morphed into the Walkers. Is that true? Or
yeah, well, I ended the Cadillac Moon. It turned into great. Leslie Zemay, great singer, one of my favorite singers, and we had a horn section and everything.
Nice.
But we're doing less and less originals, and I just thought it was time to put it to bed. But Al, Dave, and Cliff and I was still getting together here and writing and recording.
Nice.
And we kind of became the Walkers. Cliff has moved away. So we do a lot of work, the three of us. No. All
right, so he's off Long Island?
Yeah.
All right, we're not going to talk about him anymore because this is called the Long Island Sound. So once you leave Long Island, that's it. You're off. We'll have to even cut that, I think, from the audio. I'm just kidding. So tell me about some of the places that you've played on Long Island that exist still, and that some of the places, some of the venues. I'm interested.
Oh well, I've been playing Crabtrees in Huntington, which has been, it was Top of the Town, it was Fast Eddie's, it was all these Chesterfields.
Right.
Now it's owned by Andrew Crabtree, who's a major chef. He was the chef at Piccolo's for years. So it's an upscale gastro pub, so the food is still great. He does music one night a week.
Yep.
I think he's doing a comedy show monthly, one.
Yeah.
And he's just a pleasure. Great guy. So I climbed the stairs.
Right. It's interesting with venues, particularly because of COVID and they're struggling to survive, and along with that, the people who work for these venues and including musicians, we've have had to reinvent ourselves and find other income streams to make it work. But you played at, you mentioned the Right Track Inn, that was in Freeport, right?
Yeah, that was
that's gone, right?
Yeah, right. My father's place, we used to do shows at.
Yeah, what was the guy in my father's? Epi Epstein.
Michael Epstein.
Yeah. I saw you on a video podcast with them, so we got to get Epi on the Long Island Sound. I'm sure he could tell us a story or two.
Oh my God, he'll have some stories.
So you'll play in restaurants, you play in pubs. You've done some stage work. You were in Nashville too at one point, right?
I got to play the Ryman Auditorium. Yeah.
Oh man,
with Nancy Sirianni, we had produced a song that made a charity record of all Paul McCartney songs. It was a tribute to Linda.
Nice.
And the CD release party was in Nashville at the Ryman. The record is called Let Us In Nashville. Nancy brought me the tune Calico Skies, and we did it here.
Oh, that's great.
In fact, recently I got the McCartney lyric book for Christmas.
Yeah.
And in the very beginning, in the intro, he mentions that the inspiration for Calico Skies came from a power outage on Long Island.
Wow!
So I couldn't wait to tell Nancy that.
It's amazing the threads that go through things, So what I find interesting about your career and your ability to play all types of music. I mean, you really hit the jazz, some Spanish influences. Tell me about some of the I'll say some of the characters that you play with. Right now you're doing a thing with Jim Small from the Jim Small Band.
Yeah.
It's called Take Two. It's very exciting, and do a few covers and some originals. So I think that's exciting. But tell me about some of the other people. Ed Travers, right? You play with Ed.
I've been playing with Ed for a long time, for decades. He's known for playing Jimmy Buffett.
Right.
So sometimes we'll do almost a Buffett tribute. He'll always throw a few other things in, but some shows are almost full Buffett.
Cool.
Other shows are just great. His repertoire is so vast and all fun.
Right.
Very summery and beachy feeling.
Yeah. So you played with Ed. there's a gentleman that you just recently played with, John.
John Cambacus.
Yeah, tell me about John.
John. I met him in a local Mexican restaurant in town.
The town being Huntington, by the way.
Yeah. Quetzalcoatl was the place. I went with Sharon, my wife, to have dinner, and John kind of recognized me from playing with Toby Tobias. We had played out on the street.
Okay.
One door over from the restaurant. So he introduced himself. Next thing I know, I'm up there sitting in with him.
Oh, that's
but
great.
The owner was a sweetheart. He saw Sharon sitting there alone and brought her a pitcher of margaritas. So she wouldn't have to sit totally alone.
I remember we used to, I live on the South Shore of Long Island. Mike's on the North Shore, probably. That's good balance for us. I remember seeing you with Shannon Breeze down at Pete's place, which is Carney's.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like an interesting ramble on a Sunday afternoon. And
we had a nice run there. You're doing it would always be in the winter because on the South Shore, all the venues moved towards the beach. So Pete would hardly even do music in the summer. Yeah, you had that exodus out to Fire Island and open venues, which are always fun.
Exactly. Now, what I find interesting, too, so Mike, you're also a producer. You've produced other people's albums. Linda Sussman comes to mind.
We're working on her fourth one right now.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. The last one with the COVID, it was more of a real collaborative thing because she'd do all her tracks at home. I do mine here. And Kevin would do his at his,
Right.
But she's just starting the fourth one.
It's nice.
I'm going to get to work on something when we're done here.
Well, you know what I'm excited about in the way that you approach things, Mike? You really have this collaborative spirit about how you go out. You don't restrict yourself. You go out and play, and if there's an opportunity and you can expand your repertoire as far as types of music, I think that's really cool. But then I think what it does, it sows the seeds for when you start putting people's albums together. And you have these different musicians. We have Mike Guido is, thank you, Mike, by the way, handling our sound today and trying to make my lousy voice as smooth as jazz silk. But nonetheless, a little high expectations for you there, Mike. But what I find nice is now, after meeting these people out and playing live and getting to see how they connect with an audience and their true spirit of delivering this music.
Right.
And now you bring them into the studio, and you have this cacophony of different influences that go out there, which I find really cool.
Well, on Josie's last record, I brought Jim in to play some harmonica.
Nice.
So that was her third record, and it was the first time we used harmonica. Although she plays accordion, which is kind of similar sounding. But
Neat. So we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, Mike has a new album coming out, and we're going to do a deeper dive into a song called "Fading Out Fast." We'll see you in a little bit.
there's a fog upon the light of day, and morning's almost half done. They say things are gonna get better, and the best is still yet to come. Still yet to come. With no time for contemplation, everybody's out there on the run. With so many things to do, ain't it funny how little gets done? But these days I just speak broken English, and the world's made out of glass. contact and I'm fading out fast. I'm fading out fast. In this new age of information, it seems no one's got that much to say. It's getting harder believing that everything is gonna be okay.
Gonna be okay.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Gonna be okay.
But these days I just speak broken English and the world's made out of glass. Circuits are all overloaded. I'm losing contact and I'm fading out fast. Losing contact and I'm fading out fast. Oh, fading out fast. Yes, I am. There's a fog upon the light of day, and morning's almost half done. They say things are gonna get better, and the best is still yet to come. It's still yet to come. It's still yet to come, yeah. But these days I just speak broken English, and the world's made out of glass. Circuits are all overloaded. I'm losing contact and I'm fading out fast. Losing contact and I'm fading out fast. Losing contact and I'm fading out fast. Fading out. Fading out fast. There's a fog all around me now, and I'm fading out. Fog all around me now.
All around me now.
Fading out.
All around me now.
I'm looking for the cool, cool water, but I'm fading out. Fading out fast. I hear the guitars playing
All around me now.
There's a fog all around me now. Fog all around me now. There's a fog all around me now, but I'm fading out. Fog all around me now. I'm fading out fast. Fading out.
It's all around me now.
Fading out.
It's all around me now.
Hear the water flowing, baby. I'm fading out. Hear the guitars playing, but I'm fading out
All
fast.
around me now.
The fog all around me now.
All around me now. Fading
Fog all around me. There's a fog all around. Fading out, fading out, fading out fast. And I'm long gone. I'm fading out fast. all around me now. I'm fading out fast. I'm fading out fast. Fog all around me. I can feel the mountainside. I can hear the water. Guitars playing. But I'm fading out. Fading out fast.
Well, I tell you, Mike, Fading Out Fast is really an interesting song, and I had the opportunity to listen to this album several times, including on the car ride over this morning. And just to speak about the album, what's the title of the album, Mike?
Everything's gonna be okay.
Everything's going to be okay. I think that's the message we need to hear, particularly as we start getting out of COVID. But Fading Out Fast, including the other songs, really have a very eclectic feel to it and different types of music. So talk to me about Fading Out Fast. How did that come about? Who plays on the song? And how did you produce it?
Well, the basic tracks were cut guitar, bass, and drums live right here. I don't even remember. I probably had the music.
Okay. Did you write the lyrics, Mike?
No, that's Mike Deary lyric.
Mike. Okay.
You know? So I'm pretty sure I had the music and just sang the melody, and Mike wrote the lyric for me, and it, and it worked out.
It kind of came together.
Yeah. And that's Sean Murray on drums, and it's Kevin Kelly who mixed the record.
Okay.
He mastered the record. That's him on bass. He's an amazing bass player. He's great.
So when you cut albums, Mike, you'll lay down all the tracks with the different musicians and vocalists in your studio?
Yeah. Usually, it's hard to get a live whole rhythm section in the room at the same time. So mostly we just start with guitar and voice and then build around that.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about the album release. Now things have changed, through the decades of how people get music up into the cloud and onto the internet. You use CD Baby.
Yeah, I just went with CD Baby, and they release it globally on all the streaming platforms. So
really, I guess the key now is really to broadcast that out and advertise it. And get you out in the field. So what I found interesting, Mike, you do all these albums for other people, right? Mm-hmm. And I what came to mind as I was thinking about this with my wife Debbie last night. You're like the shoemaker who's got a worn out pair of shoes because you're working on everybody else's shoes, everybody else's album, and then you get to yours. So this was a long time in the making, from what I understand.
Yeah, it was in the can for a long time. And I procrastinated a bit, I guess.
Right,
but
right.
It's finally out. I didn't print anything physical yet.
Right.
Things with the pandemic are a little slow, so. But I will print some, to send out to radio and to sell at shows. But right now it's just digital. Well,
through the Long Island Sound, we hope to help boost that album. It's really. I'm a little jaded about it. It's a really fantastic album. I listened to it with my wife Debbie last night, and she's like, "That's Mike," because she's never heard you sing. She always heard you accompany, and she's like that. And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's really kind of a universal album, where you can find the joy in different types of music. Whether it's a song that has an Irish feel to it, a song that has a blues feel to it." I heard a little bit of a Mark Knopfler edge to it in some of it, which I thought was
funny. You should say that. That one of Josie's new release.
Josie who?
Josie Bello.
Josie Bello.
Her new
okay.
release. One of the reviews mentioned Dire Straits-ish guitar sounds. I said, I'll take that any day.
Yeah. So, in developing this podcast, what I find very interesting, and we call it the Long Island Sound, is really finding the joy in a lot of different types of music, whether it's reggae, whether it's soul, whether it's rap. There is what I would call a joyous truth to be found, whether that's a truth you don't want to hear about, a lesson that you should learn, or a muse that you can kind of explore and say, yeah, I can see myself in this song, or I can see my partner in that song. And I think that's really where the beauty of it comes. So you've taken the album. The album's up on CD Baby. I think early in March we're going to do a big splash to advertise it and get it out there.
Great.
And hopefully get the band together.
Yes, we will be doing shows.
Yeah, we got to do a promotion about that. So when we come back, we're going to explore another one of Mike's songs. So just stick with us. Are you a singer-songwriter who wants to take your music to the next level, and you need some professional musicians and really that expertise to help you along? Well, check out Melts in Your Ears Studio. It's Mike Nugent's studio. If you like what you've heard here today, Mike's the guy who can make the connections, put the tracks together, and give you a quality product. Check it out. So we're going to dive into another one of Mike's songs from his new album. And before we do, Mike, it's called Joyous Occasion. Mm-hmm. Just give me a little insight on how it came about. Then we'll listen to the song, if you will, and then we'll kind of explore and do a deeper dive into it.
So we were in Woodstock at a midnight ramble. Levon Helm and his band.
Okay.
And Levon didn't sing a note that night.
Well, he suffered from throat cancer, if I recall, yeah.
I had heard he was singing, but evidently they had just come off the road. I think they did 7 gigs in 10 days. And I always assumed that maybe he sang on those gigs and was hurting.
Right.
Or whatever. But he didn't sing a lick. But the way they were set up, we were in the balcony looking across the stage. And Levon was set up facing us. And his microphone would be here to his left, so he'd be looking at the audience while he was singing. That's
engaging the audience.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we were just staring straight across at Levon, and he just never stopped smiling.
That's great.
And even without his voice, which is one of the most unique sounding, distinctive,
vocals,
easily recognizable vocals, it was still one of the most amazing shows I'd ever seen.
Wow.
You know, we're in his barn. It's like being in his living room. Like, it was bigger, maybe 100 seats.
Now, how'd you come to find the ramble? How'd you come to find the barn?
Well, Mike Deary,
okay,
my songwriting partner, lived in Phoenicia, and he drove the postal route.
Okay.
Part-time. So he used to deliver the mail there. He knew exactly where it was. So we went up and stayed with him, and he drove us there. And that's how the title of the song came out. I'm sitting there with Mike, and we're looking down, and Levon just smiling, like, you know. And I turned to Mike, I said, Mike, this is such a joyous occasion. And the light went
and
off.
You both looked at each other and say,
"There's the title, all right, that one." We didn't write it right away, but the title stuck around, and we got to it. Yeah.
I tell you, it's the connection of live music. You know, it can become through your ears, but it come through a presence on the stage. So thanks for sharing that for us.
Cool.
And right now, let's jump into a deep dive of the track "Joyous Occasion."
Wear your heart like an open book. Make each day a celebration. Let your smile light up the room as we share this joyous occasion. A snowstorm for the holidays can really make the scene. The final set at Wimbledon with strawberries and cream. A baby with a gummy grin, dog with a wagging tail, big red sunset on the water, an evening breeze in full sail. Wear your heart like an open book. Make each day a celebration. Let your smile light up the room as we share this joyous occasion. As we share this joyous occasion. sense of feeling lucky in love, or winning if you're starting to gamble. There's magic in the music that comes with a midnight ramble. Wear your heart like an open book and make each day a celebration. Let your smile light up the room as we share this joyous occasion. Try to make it our best, but never settle. Never settle for anything less. The sense of feeling lucky in love, or winning if you're starting to gamble. There's magic in the music that comes with a midnight ramble. There's magic in the music that comes with a midnight ramble. Wear your heart like an open book and make each day a celebration. Let your smile light up the room as we share this joyous occasion. Wear your heart like an open book, make each day a celebration. Let your smile light up the room as we share this joyous occasion. As we share this joyous occasion. As we share this joyous occasion. We share it all night long. Joyous occasion. As we share this joyous occasion.
Mike, that was just great. It was great to listen to it again, and interesting take that you started with just vocals. What inspired you to do that?
It's just I just thought it was a great lyric. It's
just run with the lyric. Yeah.
So who's the chorus, and
So who are we listening to on this particular song?
Oh, that's Ian Patillo on drums, who's now in New Orleans. I miss him. Good buddy.
Okay.
Mike Leslie on bass, and Mark Mancini on piano, Tom Frioli, my buddy,
on the violin.
And that's Tony Barker and Rory Kelly on the background.
Okay, Rory Kelly again, whose dad I think
Kevin,
mixed everything down.
Amazing engineer, great guy, great bass player. Yeah.
Nice. So let me ask you this: in cutting this song, is everybody in one room? Are people remotely doing their particular track and sending to it? I'm really curious how that kind of comes together.
Again, I'm pretty sure that was just based around off the guitar.
Okay, but was everybody in the room?
Oh wait, you know what? We might have cut that with the band.
All right, so you really did procrastinate on this, because your memory shot.
Years ago.
So this is many years in the making.
And then, changed. It started with Sean on drums, and it ended with Ian on drums.
Right. So you know what I think is great, even though it's and I'm busting your balls here, Mike, is it's in the can for a while, and then you get out and you finally you have the time and you produce the album. But what I find so interesting is just the title, Joyous Occasion, is kind of what we're all yearning for, right?
Yeah.
We're waiting for this pandemic to get to our
that's
new
why
normal.
I waited to release it.
That's it, right. Oh, very instinctive. He's brilliant. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he's an oracle. He looks into the future and says, no, it's like a fine wine. It hasn't had its time yet, and now it's the time to release. Man, I thought I was full of horse shit, but that's pretty good, Mike. Well, that's a great song. I really encourage everyone to go onto all the major platforms. You'll find it on Spotify. You'll find it on Apple Music, and download it, buy it, reach out to us. Mike has a website. It is called MikeNugentNY.com, and you can find information on how to contact Mike there. So when we get back, we're going to pick Mike's brain for a couple minutes at least, and talk about the Long Island Sound, that elusive thought of what actually makes up the Long Island Sound. We'll be right back. Everything's Gonna Be Okay, the new album by Mike Nugent and the Blue Moon Band. Check it out on Spotify, Apple Music, and all major platforms. You're gonna love it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with Mike Nugent. This is Steve Yusko from GigDestiny.com. And Mike, what I'd like to kind of jump into now, and this is, what we call the podcast is the Long Island Sound. And my take at the Long Island Sound, just for those who are not from Long Island, there's actually a body of water between Connecticut and Long Island, and we're very grateful that we're separate from Connecticut. No, I'm only kidding. Called the Long Island Sound. Beautiful body of water. But it's a play on words that I believe there's a, quote, Long Island Sound, a diverse sound of music on Long Island that has influences from around the globe. I mean, we're right outside New York City, and we're kind of the stepson, stepsister to New York City, and a lot of people play out on Long Island. So what I wanted to talk to you, Mike, was you're a unique musician in that, one, you're a multi-instrumentalist, which I think is just kind of great. But then you've opened yourself not to be tied into one genre of music. So kind of tell me where you've kind of gone with it.
Well, the guitar's everywhere. Less now if you talk to Mike Guido, doing sound for the younger bands, just
Right.
no more guitar solos. Unless it's really a rock and roll thing.
Right.
But I just love where the guitar goes. I've been playing with John Cambacus, and I always knew who the Gypsy Kings were, and I'd heard their music, but I'd never really played any of it.
So what style of music does John play? What classify it as?
He calls it like Spanish rumba,
Okay.
or we do some bossa nova style, and they kind of blend.
So I assume he's playing it on a nylon string guitar.
Yeah. So I had to buy that nylon guitar. I just had to buy it.
So you always accompany him with a nylon, or do you?
Yeah. We play with two nylons. Yeah.
Okay.
And he he does Gypsy Kings. He does a lot of different stuff.
Is it mostly instrumental, Mike, or is it?
No. We do some Sting songs that he sings, because Sting is very into that mind.
Yeah. He's got that jazz influence as well, from what I understand.
Yeah. Maliba would do a tune to his, and that whole flamenco.
So let me ask you a question. So I would think that I would expect to go to a Spanish or a Latin restaurant to hear that type of music, but that's not always the case on Long Island.
No. I met John at the Mexican restaurant.
Sure, yep.
Thinking he was Spanish because he sings in Spanish, but he's Turkish. Last night we played at Sangria, which is a Spanish restaurant,
right,
in Island Park. So we're just perfect for that.
Right. Now, did he play in Crabtree's as well?
Yeah, we played Crabtree's Thursday night.
But Crabtree's is not.
No, but it was funny. It's the first time up there for him. I've played there.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't. It was the first set. We weren't really getting a reaction yet.
Okay.
So he was, a
little down and out.
But then Andrew, the owner, was such a sweetheart. I told him about it. He said, you're here because you're so different. Because that's what I had said to John. I said, John, this is very different for this crowd. They're not used to hearing this kind of music. And Andrew was great. He said, that's why you're here. I want all different stuff. And the next couple sets, you know, a few more people, we got a little reaction, and it's all good, you know.
Right.
I'm still learning that whole style, you know.
That's great. So you got that Spanish influence. Obviously, you played the blues, right? So you've been in different venues for that.
That's why I named the record, you know, the Blue Moon,
Mike
Nugent and Blue Moon, because I wanted to keep as a writer, I tend to write singer-songwritery.
Okay.
You know, but as a player, I've played a lot of blues, and I love the blues, so I just want to keep that connection. Hopefully, it'll work.
Right.
Conceptually, maybe along the way, we'll say, well, you know, let's just do this kind of record, or let's just do that kind of record. But until then, I just love playing it all, and the music is for the people. I just want to get it out there. You know?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting when you at least my perspective on some of the venues that play live music. There are venues that, you know, they'll do the cover band and the DJ, okay, and fill that and look for to attract a certain crowd for that. And then there are those venues that say, you know what, I don't want to follow the crowd. I want to be somewhat different with the entertainment that I present. And they take it actually a little bit more seriously, and they're willing to experiment. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, if I had to spread the gospel of the Long Island Sound around Long Island, I would invite venue owners to really reach out and look for those original songwriters who can connect with the crowd and really deliver something new to their ears. Yeah, they can mix in a couple cover songs, and people like familiarity in what they like to entertain, but I that would be my wish, I guess, for Long Island, you know, moving forward. And who knows? I honestly, as the restrictions begin to lift, as people, you know, as we deal with this pandemic, I think there's going to be a big influx and a need for live music. That's my hope. I think there's such a back draft of this that's waiting to come out, so I'm really kind of encouraged by it.
I think everything's going to be okay.
That's a little plug, folks.
Yeah. Numbers seem to be coming down, and you know, winter will be history soon, and hopefully as we come into the nice weather, nothing else hits us, and I think we're getting closer to herd immunity thing, you know. The
other thing is, too, podcasts like this, other platforms, whether it's a Facebook live stream, we've seen a lot of our friends will just get in front of a camera and put up a electronic tip cup and sing to the microphone and the camera, and God bless them. It's got to be a different type of way to approach things, because I know when I've seen people live, when I've seen you live, you get that audience participation and that spirit you feel from the audience that can take you into new directions. So there's kind of a yearning to get back to live music. So each week on the Long Island Sound, we're going to explore the different genres that are out there, and like to invite any musicians that are out there that would like to talk to us and give us their stories out there. We'd love to have you as a guest. Just go to gigdestiny.com. I really want to thank you, Mike. You know what?
It's been my pleasure.
We can account for our bank accounts and what we own. The one thing we can't account for in life is our time. So when you're generous with your time, it's really a blessing. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Please subscribe and comment and let us know what you think, and let us know what direction you'd like us to take. And we'll see you. Be well.
So long. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate the time you spent with us. Please subscribe and comment, and visit us at gigdestiny.com. Till next time, be generous with your joy, keep your spirits high, and let the music take you on a journey. Be well. Peace. Thanks so much for listening. Please rate, review, and comment on the show. We really love to hear from you. And call our listener line at 631-800-3579. Again, thanks so much. Be well.